Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's go to President's report. It's my intent to send a letter to the community, probably sometime in a latter part of August, just to get people caught up in terms of where we are in Sterling Oaks. I, of course, would like to talk to them about the roads project, and particularly since we have more than half the people that are probably not present currently, I'd like to let them know that we have the roads project going on, and we have the shade structure that they'll see when they come back. We have the traffic pattern. We'll give them a little assessment on how that's going and what they might expect. Give them an update on the COVID plan, what the status is. And they're hearing a lot of stuff about Florida, but we'll try to put that in perspective with what's going on in Sterling Oaks. And I want to also remind them, as I read Chap's report about the status of the loan that we took out, and I think they will be pleased with the remainder that we have left to pay and the progress we've made on that. And also talk about the strategic plan in terms of where to find it, and the fact that we have it posted on the website. And then when in the fall, when most of the people return, or a good number of the people return, we'll have the town hall meeting with Jerry Schoenfeld. So if you have anything other items I should include in that letter, let me know, and we'll put that together for our neighbors and the community. So with that, that's pretty much all I have to report at this point. Let's go to the manager's report, and Mark, please.
You all received it in the packet, and I just recently sent you some charts from the radar signs, but Alan and I spent several hours going through a very lengthy tome about how to download and have accessible reports from the radar signs. And I've sent them to you. You can kind of go through them. It looks like the speed limit we set at 15. It seems like everybody's going 17 to 20, which is pretty close. So we have a couple of them that fly around at 35 and here and there, but it seems to flash, and at least it's got their attention. So we are going to probably move them at some point in time here, probably closer when people get back, just so we can, have them in a different position, probably facing the other way of traffic to get people's attention on that. The pool and fitness. Yes, Lanny.
I just wanted to let those that aren't here know, my experience is that they read 2 miles an hour slower than what my car does. So I think they're giving people a couple miles leeway also.
Oh, okay.
So that, I definitely perceive that people are driving much slower than they did before. There's a few that don't, but
I'm a little worried that you're looking at the radar sign in your odometer at the same time you're driving, but let's hope someone else was assisting you in that endeavor.
I've got good peripheral vision. I'm only 70.
Ooh, boy, you don't be telling things like that.
Oh, I'm thrilled to be alive at 70.
Oh, okay.
I'm catching up. I've got my 65th this December, so.
He's a kid.
Boy.
Harry, don't open your mouth.
Anyways, so the pool, we got hit by lightning about a week and a half ago out at the pool area, and it went through the fences, went through the lines, and zapped a bunch of the card access readers, along with the the power module and board downstairs in the server room. It took us a while to get things figured out as to what got burned out. We also had to order parts, and we're still in that position now of ordering new card readers, the little black readers that you put your card up to. We had to kind of tape some of the doors open so that you could get in and out. It did blow out a bunch of stuff. It was a pretty good lightning storm. So we're replacing them. We're also adding more surge protection into the lines to try to keep that at bay. And in the meantime, we're going to probably put the regular locks onto the pool like they used to be before the access control, at least to monitor this and keep things locked down. And if we do have a storm this weekend, we will go ahead and take the umbrellas down and make sure that the pool's closed. So we're putting all that together as we go. The shade shelter just got an update from Coastal Canvas. They actually are making it. They've got the frame. They've got it welding. They should be out sometime next week after the storm to start digging the footers. Alan and I have been out there to work with them on where the utility lines are, the electrical conduits that feed the tennis courts, the water lines. We've got all that flagged. They're going to take up the pavers and hand dig those footers. And the footers for that, there are 8 footers, and they are 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot concrete. So that it isn't going to go anywhere when the wind blows. But that'll be done out here probably starting next week. And I imagine by mid-August, we'll have that shade shelter up.
These footers will be subterranean.
All footers will be down below. The pavers will all be back to normal spot. Yep. The pool lift, the handicap pool lift has been a pain in our butt. It works intermittently. We've had some people complain because they come down, and of course that day it doesn't work. It was working yesterday, and Alan is checking it on a daily basis, but it is very suspect. We did order a new pool lift. When it does come in, we will replace the ones that's there, and that'll give everybody that has any handicap needs or injuries to be able to utilize the pool.
Do we have something to mention that to the residents so they're aware that things are in motion?
Only from the people that are down at the pool, we tell everybody, and the pool people know what's going on, but we can put that in an FYI, yes.
Yeah, it would be helpful. I got a couple calls about that, but it was a
Yeah.
while ago.
Oh, yeah, Marjorie Block, who's Ellen's mom, she's 92.
Yeah.
The day she went down there, the pool lift wasn't working correctly. We're not really sure whether or not somebody put the emergency stop and locked that down, because we found that locked. When you undo that, that works. Somebody unplugged the cable that went to the seat. And when you unplug that safety cable, it doesn't work either. So we feel that there's people, there are a lot of fingers in the pie down there that are creating issues from time to time. We found wires pulled and all sorts of vandalism here and there. Anyways, so once that gets back in, we'll have a new one. The spa has been down just because we had a heater coil go out. That's should be delivered here in the next couple of days. Once that goes back in, the spa will be back and up and running, even though the water and the pretty much in the pool is about spa temperature anyways. Road project is going to start next Monday on the 3rd. That's of course, pending the storm. They're going to bring all their milling equipment and put it out on Old 41 right outside the back gate. We've got Alan's got our guys ready to go to disable the gates and open those up so that they'll mill starting at the back gate. They will have flagmen. It's going to create some traffic issues simply because either people are going to have to go one way or they're going to have to wait and go around. But this is a well-known company. They do a lot of work in town. They're familiar with HOAs. They're going to have it pretty much under control. I think the only factor that will come into play is weather. And, once they get moving, it should, if it goes all well, it would take about 3 weeks. Brightview, I know that Lindy has got a fairly lengthy report, and I can only tell you that the landscaping committee has done more work this year going back and forth with the landscaping company than in any years in the past. They've spent numerous hours wandering all over Sterling Oaks, looking at plants and deciding what's best, and working with Brightview on trying to make sure that they have a good combination of the existing replacements along with some enhancements. And she'll bring that forward here just a little bit later. That should just about be it. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Yeah, Mark, just two questions. First is, do we have any insurance possibilities from the lightning strikes?
Well, it's a $5,000 deductible for those big, for those kinds of damages. I don't think it's worth going ahead and trying to get a claim because the cost of repairs are somewhere around $1,000.
Okay, all right. Second thing is, I assume that both the spa problem and the handicap lift problem are reserve money?
That is correct.
Okay, that's all.
Okay, any other questions of Mark? Let's go.
Lanny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Lanny, go ahead.
Mark, is one of the options regarding the lightning to put a lightning rod someplace?
Well, everything's grounded out there. We do have grounding strips and grounding wires going into everything. This we think was actually the aluminum picket gate that got hit and transferred that just through the entire process. It ran from out there through the wires all the way back into the panel in the inside. So, you know, we've got that all with ground wires. It's all pushed down in, and it's just one of those, when they get that massive and not much stops it, especially when it's going through Cat 5. So I'll just ask Alan if we can improve the grounding process and see if there's something else we can do. I don't know about the lightning rods, installing them on the buildings. That's a possibility. I've seen them on other buildings.
Yeah, it just seems like this is fragile and we have a lot of lightning, and you know, my sailing life, I'm have some awareness that if you get something up there higher, it's going to hit that instead of the fence.
That's a good idea. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move along. As I reviewed all the reports, I'm looking forward to the treasurer's report. So it's a feel-good report. So with that, Chap, let's go to you.
I think you've all seen this, but I'll go through it quickly. First is our operating cash is very strong. As of the 1st of July, we had about $500,000, just a tad less than $500,000 in operating cash. That's because our residents have stayed current on their dues. And we also got the $188,000 PPP loan, which we've been using for payroll. On the PPP loan, as of the 1st of July, we have a little over $100,000 left, and we'll use that up until for payroll until it's depleted. The original loan was for $188,000. It shows up on our books as a long-term liability, but there's no reason to believe that the loan will not be forgiven since we're complying with the terms for forgiveness. And I believe we have to apply for that forgiveness process sometime after the 1st of the year. But I'm fairly certain that it should be forgiven. In terms of how we're doing overall as an enterprise through the 1st of July, We have a loss of $41,000. Ironically, that's exactly in line with the budget. That's because we've done a good job on controlling our expenses, particularly payroll, and we've had very little discretionary spending. In terms of the loan for the renovation, it was originally $981,000. As of the 1st of July, we have a remaining balance of $329,000. We pay it off at about $25,000 a month. So we've got about 12 months left before it's totally paid off. The excess that will go into reserves, in the reserves right now, it's 150,000 excess. It'll probably be closer to 200,000 when all said and done. Lanny's doing great. Town's profit year to date is $22,000. That's $13,000 better than budget. So whatever they're doing, do it. Keep doing it.
Good job, Lanny.
Thank you.
Food and beverage, no surprise. We've had virtually no income since March. Year to date, food and beverage is showing a loss of $80,000. That's $39,000 worth in budget. I'm assuming, or if we assume a shutdown of operations for the rest of the year, my best estimate is that food and beverage will have an annual loss of $170,000. The budget for the year was a loss of $140,000. There's very little change in the condo water situation. Year to date, there's a deficit of $17,500. We'll deal with that at the end of the year. The important thing is when we do the budget for next year to make sure we're putting in the right amount.
Yeah,
So we don't have to go through this every month.
right.
Overdue resident payments are remarkably low. I'm frankly very surprised. They're remarkably low at this point, and there's no upward trend. Finally, we have a really good reserve study. The results of this study will be incorporated into the budget for 2021. We've had a lot of input and quote negotiation unquote with John Mihawk as it relates to Wildcat Cove. I think we have some agreement there. And the Finance Committee is meeting tomorrow to deal with the rest of the reserve study, ex Wildcat Cove. That's it.
Very good report.
Thank you, Chap.
Any questions of Chap? Lindia?
Yes, you can see me, but I can't see you. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I've got a couple questions. Chap, when is the last payment due as far as the people that are making the monthly payments on the renovation?
We gave him, what, 3 years, Mark?
It's April 2022 will be the last time we bill out for it
April?
of 2022.
Okay,
So that's the month when they make that payment, they're all done.
correct.
Okay. And the next thing is on the food, beverage and activities loss. Now, does that loss include salaries that have actually been paid by the loan?
Of course,
Yes.
should be.
Yeah.
So in actuality, how does that work?
Well, I mean, one way or another, we've lost this kind of money. It just so happens that the salary part of it's being paid out of the PPP loan, not operating cash. Right, Mark?
That's correct. So
I mean, it doesn't go
I suppose you
away.
could do a little accounting, fuzzy math and move things around to make it one way or the other, but I think it, it all falls to the bottom line the same way.
Yeah, it's a loss regardless of whether it's being reimbursed or not.
That's right.
Well, okay,
That's
that's
right.
what I want to know. It is being reimbursed.
The,
That
The
portion
P-
of it, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Okay,
but that's, but reimbursed or not, it's not going to change the number.
I understand that.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How did I lose my video, Mark?
Let me see if I can see it for you.
You're sharing your screen?
I see that video is on for us. We can see you.
Okay, well, that's okay then. I don't care if I see anybody or not. Let's see. Okay.
Oh, boy.
Are you sharing your screen down at the
No,
bottom?
you probably need to go
Share your
in like
screen.
not share your screen. You need to go to like gallery view and then you can see everybody other than just that you have it set to where you can hear just the person talking probably.
So go up to the top right-hand corner.
And like right now, like you can change it to speaker view or gallery view.
Yeah, I don't have that. All I have is Zoom. That's okay. I'll keep going. It's okay.
Okay, well, let's then move to committee reports and we'll start with activities. And Lynn, you're on.
Okay, the Activities Committee met via Zoom July 21st at 10 o'clock. Minutes for activities at Sterling Oaks are pretty easy to write with a clubhouse basically closed for social activities. Many of we gamers are experiencing extreme withdrawal. We miss our cards, our games, our music and dancing, our lectures, speakers, and big entertaining events. For myself and many others, the club is a hub for music, parties, conversation, meetings, educational events, and personal interaction. Frankly, I miss dressing up and having some place to go. It is sobering to see how quickly we can lose these simple pleasures of life and how diligent we must be to once again enjoy them. Many enjoyed the 4th of July barbecue. FB&A provided curbside pickup as well as the opportunity to eat at the pool and enjoy a little music from Pandora. The musician book did not yet feel comfortable to play at a gathering, so we cranked up our own tunes and a good time was had by all. The book club had a successful meeting and selected the next book for all to read. It is The Extraordinary Life of Sam Hell by Robert Dugany. They will meet Tuesday, August 25th somewhere, hopefully the club. Looking ahead, we will celebrate Thanksgiving in August on August 21st. Curbside pickup will be available, and of course, you can take it home or enjoy it at the pool. The food orders include everything you would need to enjoy your dinner, right down to the sanitizers. Celebrate the event by not having to turn on your oven to enjoy a great Thanksgiving meal. We are celebrating Labor Day with a barbecue at the pool with live entertainment by James Prather. Food can be picked up curbside for take home or take to the pool at this point. Enjoy the September weather, good music, and friendly company. It may end up being all curbside, and I guess you can take it where you want, but we'll see when that comes around. We also discussed events that should be canceled or postponed due to the situation. We did cancel Bob Zatola for the September gig for now. Lynn and Nicole will begin work on the budget, a difficult task with all the uncertainties. The next activities meeting is September 15th at 10, again, hopefully at the club. This concludes my report.
Very good. Any questions of Linda? Not, I have a comment. Lynn, as I mentioned earlier, I hope to write a letter to the community, and particularly those who are not in Sterling Oaks currently. And I'm wondering if I can use your first paragraph as a quote in the letter.
Of course.
Okay. I think that gives a pretty good feeling of the folks who are there and how they feel. Okay, let's go to architectural standards.
Okay,
Wait for this one, and we'll start with Michael and Cezanne in reserve.
obviously this is less than positive. So in your package, you'll see the long list of violations for the condo coach homes. Okay, and also you'll see the timeline when this started.
What happened?
These violations
What-
were noted back
what
in
happened?
January and are running now
We're
through
frozen.
August. The executive council committee met last week and denied a long-term or an extension that the condos had requested and gave them till August 15th to comply and complete and fix these violations. So what we would like to do, is there any discussion on that? Lanny?
I just want to understand, I didn't think the executive committee had any ability to grant extensions. What was the story there?
Well, we denied any further extensions.
All right,
It says here that you gave one.
Well, where's Cezanne?
He dropped off. I don't know what happened.
Could I add what I know?
Marked off too, so I don't know what happened.
Hmm.
Paul?
Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
I've been kind of working on this with the condo and coach people. Of course, a lot of them were in situation where they were waiting for either the inspector to come do the roof. They've been told if they have an open claim that anybody goes on the roof, that it invalidates their claim. In addition, they've been working with the painting and of a lot of the condos, they've been working with trying to organize that because a lot of people are ready to paint, or at least one association is ready to go right now. So all of this, and then the change in the advanced property management. We had Alex all up to speed.
Those are Democrats.
We had those all up to speed, and now we have to get Christian up to speed. And what happened was he took this letter that he got saying that all those violations, and it said on it, like it said forever, but this threw Christian into a little bit of a panic, that if the power washing, like on your wall, doesn't do the job, you may have to paint. You know, it sort of means, he thought it meant, oh my God, they got to start painting. So he got us all, we all got together on a Zoom meeting to do colors and everything yesterday. And I told Christian, I said, that's just a form letter. You probably, they're not going to order you to paint your whole condo if you've got, anyway, he was going to
I
call
am back.
Cezanne and get it straightened out. So that's why Cezanne did that. She can fill you in.
I'm sorry, we lost internet here at the club. I missed everything about the ASC report.
Was it a lightning strike?
No, we lost everything. So I've got to try to, I think I've got to try to get back onto,
YouTube's
good.
on again.
Good
it
on
says.
YouTube. Don't mess with it. Yeah, you're good with it. It's still on.
okay.
Okay, we've got everyone now.
I don't know why I'm on here twice.
Good. All right, I need to go to gallery view. I guess, how do I get there?
I'm going to try to go off and get back on.
We're all here.
All right,
Where-
Cezanne, where we were, Michael was leading the discussion is at the executive committee meeting, we denied the request for an extension, I think, about a roof. Is that correct?
Sure, we denied their request for extension on all of their violations. We denied their request for extension through September, but the EC authorized an extension through August 15th. So there are a handful of sub-associations that have since contracted to have the work done. Some has even gotten done since that meeting. And then some are scheduled. There are a handful, Sweetwater 1, 4, 7, 8, and Eagle Cove 3 that do not have scheduled dates to be have their violations satisfied.
Okay, now, I mean, and I'll let Lonnie, I'm just trying to organize this discussion. And
What
so
about
what that means is
washing the roofs?
if it isn't fixed
When is it gonna happen?
within the time that we told them, we're going to do it ourselves and bill them, right?
Correct. That's
Yeah.
what we're asking for, is that the master board approve the motion that for the Master Association to correct the outstanding violations, if not corrected by August 15th, and charge the cost to do so to the sub-association for the unit owners.
All right, I'm done. So Lonnie,
Okay, Lanny?
Two issues. One, Lindy, addressing your concern about someone going on the roof. I know that there are roof cleaning companies that do it using cherry pickers.
Yes.
So
we're-
that's not an excuse not to clean the roofs. But
Well-
Suzanne, my other question was, our rules don't allow the EC to make any decisions for the board. And these notes say that the EC granted an extension through August 15th. And I don't understand how that can be done, since they have no authority to do anything separately other than set an agenda.
Well, we discussed this at the EC meeting, and I noted to the EC that I do have a laundry list of signed violations. So rather than telling Advanced Property Management and Christian that they're subject to fines as of their deadline on July 20th, that we would give them a little bit of extra time to work on getting these done, rather than me coming in tomorrow and doing it and having them. We want the sub-associations to take care of this as they should. So we as a
Okay.
company give them like an extra 15 days in writing before we would step in and do it.
But my understanding is the ASC denied that request.
The ASC, yes, they
Okay.
asked
So
advance.
the only other real option is a board approval for that request, correct?
No, I mean, no.
Since when can the executive committee make a decision for the board like this?
Right.
Well, I think the exec committee was acting in the best interest of the board and for moving things along. I don't think this was a critical notion that was carried on. And I think the feeling of the exec committee was that this was in the best interest of moving things along here quickly. I'm not so sure that the board president couldn't authorize this on his own. If the board wants to act on this, that's fine. We can call emergency board meetings to deal with these things. But how does the board feel about this? Is this that critical of an issue?
Oh, can I say something?
Go ahead, Lynn.
So Sweetwater Bay 1 had our request in to have our roof power washed. In the meantime, they changed personnel over at Advanced, and then they told us, now the new person said, hey, we can't go along with what we had scheduled because, or what we were about to schedule, because they can't go on the roof for it, or it takes away your claim, your roof claim. So we said, okay, so Suzanne sent a letter to Christian, and then we all got the letter from Christian saying that there was a soft power wash that you could do that would be acceptable to the board. We had to find that out from EC meeting that that was acceptable to the board. And now we've told him, get the soft wash, but now he's got to schedule them. So people are trying to do it the right way without, you know, if we canceled our claim because we had people up on that roof, I do believe that every Sweetwater Bay 1 owner could sue us.
But I got confirmation from Trafford Pressure Cleaning, who the signed estimate is for Sweetwater Bay 1, that Advanced Property Management told them not to do anything.
That's because we heard that if they went on the roof, and then yesterday Phil met with Christian, or the day before, and told them, all right, now we can do the soft wash. So, I mean, we're all trying here, but we're in the middle of a mess.
And so Mr. Goodrow or Mr. Hargrave might want to touch on this. We did ask our attorney, Jason, what we could do. And Jason did say that the Master Association has full authority to go and get the roof cleaned, even if there's pending litigation, because you guys need to, or all the buildings need to be in compliance with the Sterling Oaks maintenance standards.
Right, so that's why we asked for the extension, so that we can get that out to everybody.
But,
Paul,
I mean,
Yes,
traffic
Terry.
can get the stuff
Yeah.
done this week.
They're
why
right
can't,
here now, doing it, across the
Why-
street.
why can't we memorialize what you've done at the executive committee by simply making a motion to support the activity that was done and vote here to support it, and therefore the problem goes away? I think that that might be appropriate.
Yeah, I was thinking along those lines too.
But
We have a vote.
the way that motion is written in your packet, it does speak of that term, that if it's not corrected by August 15th, which was the deadline we wrote in the letter, then the Master Association will go in and have the violation corrected.
Well, that will resolve the issue, Cezanne, I believe.
Mhm.
All right, so let's make that motion then.
Lanny, are you good with that?
Well, I still have a couple of questions. First of all, it seems like the timeline starts a little late because these roofs were dirty last fall. And, you know, we don't need to tell anyone that they have to comply with a maintenance standard. So it's not as if this really started in June. It started last fall. And I don't understand why things weren't cleaned a long time ago.
Yeah, so I can hit on that. So I guess in my absence of my maternity leave, you know, Laura was doing the best she could to work with the ASC on getting the letters out and such. But, you know, me having the history and not being here, things kind of fell through the cracks a little bit there. So when I
Okay,
came back from leave and was able to work more, that's when we noticed that the condo information didn't go out, and we got it out as fast as we could. And we sent it originally to, like, most of these, I'm speaking of most of them, but not all of them are managed by Advanced Property Management, but most of them are. So Advanced Property Management, when I originally sent them, were sent to David. Then I don't know if he just left the company or turned it over to Alex. And then Alex fought us tooth and nail about not doing them. And since then, Alex left in the week that I sent the final notices. Christian involved and is now trying to play catch up and clean up in the mix of it. And he's doing as best as he can, but I could see that he's definitely caught in the crossfires between and his sub-association presidents.
It does seem-
Not only that was going on where the property management crew was turning over like crazy, there was some issue in terms of the leadership within the condo association itself, in terms of presidents or lack of presidents and presidents coming and going. So you can imagine the lack of communication that was going on during that period of time.
Yeah, I can just say, in our history, generally, we've never had to contact the sub-association presidents to get these items fixed. Their sub-association management companies, it's yearly maintenance, and they just have it in their schedule generally in, you know, September, October to get them done. And they just didn't this past year. And here we are 7 months later, still dealing with the issue.
One of the associations could not find any leadership at all, and there was a threat of going into receivership if they couldn't find a president. And finally, someone came forward, but that took quite a period of time also. So you can imagine the lack of communication there. But anyway, that suggests some of the problem that was going on. But let's get back to the motions at hand here. Lanny?
So as I understand it, no one's going to be charged any fines despite of all of these delays.
Thank God.
That's up to you guys. One, we've never been in this position before. So who do I fine? You know, do I fine the advanced property management? Do I bill it out per building? Everybody gets a $25 fine, over there. That's up to you guys.
Well,
My-
I just think that we cannot allow this behavior to have existed without any, without the kind of action we would take against a homeowner. It's just gone on way, way too long, and I hear a lot of issues, but it just isn't fair to homeowners to have had these properties looking this bad, this long, and no fines. We would never allow that with a homeowner, so why are we allowing it with the condos?
Terry,
Well, I think that part of the reason that we are here is because of the conversation that we've had, Cezanne laying out some of the situations with her birth and so forth, as well as Lindy putting forth the situation that her roofing situation is to be done without going on the roof, and which is something that hasn't been done before. So now we have to do it that way. So I would be comfortable with not fining them. If the board majority feels that they would like to fine them, I'm kind of ambivalent.
I think the difference here is we could be talking of hundreds of people. It makes it a little different than the situation in the single family homes. And I feel also that this should not have occurred. I think there were extenuating circumstances that caused this to happen. It's not entirely the fault of the residents here. I think they would be responsive if they had communication links, but I think those links broke down. Now, we could interpret this very black and white. There are rules, you broke the rules, you get a fine. I think it's our job here to sort out the actual situation. I think the bottom line for the board is, will these roofs get cleaned? Will things get back to our standards? I think that's the important thing at this time. I think it's more important than collecting fines on a big number of people because of their lack of representation and communication. Lanny.
2 points. One, I'm concerned about our ability to enforce maintenance standards with homeowners when they have this example to point to that these condos were allowed to not comply with maintenance standards for 9 months. And then secondly, when you talk about it involving a number of people, $100 fine spread out over all the condo people is not very much. And I'm concerned not only that they get cleaned this year, but that they get cleaned promptly on a regular basis. Once the condos know that they're not in jeopardy of having to follow the standards like homeowners, I'm not sure that we're not going to run into troubles again another year. So I think that it's risky for us to not go with our usual process.
Let's go to Michael, then Chap, then Lindia.
I think this has just been an overall very unusual year, between
Right.
Cezanne being gone in the fall while we were doing the inspections and the whole COVID thing. And it's just been an unusual year. And I think we have to look at that, put that in perspective.
Chap,
How many management companies are involved in this fiasco?
There's 2 that have outstanding violations that we have not worked with on. So for instance, Eagle Cove 1 is managed by Alliant Property Management. All their violations are on hold because they are actually getting their roofs replaced.
Okay,
In the walls of their building, before they put their roof on. Completely understandable. We do that with the single family homes also, but they know they need to correct the other things afterwards.
Okay.
And we've had turnover within those management companies.
What other management companies involved?
Sure. So Sweetwater 6 is managed by Golf Breeze. They took care of all of their violations except
Okay.
their carport walls are in violation. They are due to be painted in 2021. So we offered them an extension through March of 2021 to pretty much get that violation fixed. We didn't want them to go in and try to rush the painting this year when we know that all their buildings are going to be painted. The other two left are Advanced Property Management and Center Tree. So they have outstanding violations.
Can we find them?
I mean, if you're important fines, that's who I would find. I would find the management company. Sweetwater 1 is managed by Advanced Property Management. And that's when I write a letter, that's, you know, who takes care of. Sweetwater 1 hired Advanced for this, you know, to do this work. So that's who would pay.
Well, I think we should try to find the property managers. I think that's where the problem lies.
Now, I'm not trying to, you know, get him out of fines, but in like Christian's standpoint, he literally got hired the week we sent final notices.
Well, that's too bad. I mean, I got hired in every job I've had inheriting a can of worms. So that's too bad.
Lindia,
So I just got a note from Christian. I was advised by the public adjuster not to do so. That was to paint, that was to do the roof that we had requested. I will double check with the adjuster in regards to a soft wash. I'm listening in on the meeting. Please let them know that all the violations will be resolved by August 15th when it comes to pressure cleaning. So he is diligently working on this. He did not know anything about soft wash until he just got the letter. When was it, Suzanne, the letter went out? About the soft,
The final notice went out on July 6th.
and that, was that about the soft wash in it?
No, that just has you state you have a
Okay.
notice. The final deny of extension was July 23rd.
Okay, so when you find the property manager, you're finding the people. So it's the same thing because it's going to be out of our budget, whatever it is. So that's neither here nor there. The second thing is that's why people don't want to be presidents of the condo association, because it's a lot of work and you are dealing with people and circumstances that require this year a lot of leeway. There's just people putting on roofs. If my husband is the president of Sweetwater Bay 1, if he lets people pressure wash that roof and we no longer have a claim, then I have a feeling there's going to be a big claim, because that is just not right. I think we needed the time. The EC was intelligent enough to give us that time, and it will be done. But, and I don't mean that as I'm just saying, when you listen to all the reasons, you have to realize that we're right in the middle of roofs and we're right in the middle of claims and painting. It's a mess.
okay, we have two things going on.
Yeah.
Granting the extension and whether or not we fine.
Okay.
So-
Michael, what do you think we should do here? Grant the
That was
extension?
my next question too, Michael. Give us a recommendation.
I think we should hold them till the August 15th, and then if they have not done that by then they get a fine at that point on. We don't go through fines retroactively here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Is that the motion?
The motion should be that the condos with outstanding violations be inspected by August 15th. And if the violations are not resolved, the master board will contract for required work and build sub-associations
What about fines, Michael?
and include the respective fine. I'm not sure what the number is on that.
Right, doesn't have, you don't have to know the number.
Are we all clear about the motion?
Second,
Okay. Okay, we have a second. Any further discussion? Lanny?
I think we do need to be clear about the fine amount. I understand we may not have that number here now, but maybe by the end of the meeting, Susan can get that for us. But whenever we have decided that we would be doing maintenance work for a homeowner, we have specified the exact amount of the fine. I would think it would be the $100 per day for 10 days. That's what we do for everything else. But I think that does need to be included in a motion in order for us to do it.
Well, why would it not be anything but that?
I don't know.
So why don't we include, let's include that in the motion then.
Well, I guess I need more information when it comes to my standpoint. Are you doing $100 per day per open violation? Like if it's a roof, a carport, those are two. Are you doing $100 a day just if there's an open violation? Are you doing $100 per building? I mean, this is where I guess the fines get very sticky compared to a single family home in this aspect because there's so many variables.
Have we had precedence on this?
We've never been in this association with the condo or coach home.
Okay.
I think we need a recommendation from the ASC committee. I would think it should be, the parallel would be $100 per day per violation per building, because each building is a separate violation. But
They've never fined a single family home $100 a day per violation on a violation that can be fixed. They've charged $100 per violation. So if there was two, like a roof and wall,
okay.
$200.
I have an idea.
Go ahead, Chad.
What we all agreed on, Michael, is we're giving them until August 15th to get this work done, or we're going to do it ourselves, right?
Correct.
All right. So that part, nobody disagrees with. Now becomes the issue of fines. What if we made the fine like 50% more than the bill to do it ourselves?
Not a-
5%.
We're not allowed to do that.
No? Okay.
$100 per day per violation is the most we can do.
We might,
Well, but you also
Mark
have
might be
the
able to
problem.
chime in. Mark might be able to, we might be able to charge like an administrative cost for us to contract to have the work done.
Possibility.
Let's go to Terry and then John.
I'll be right back.
I didn't want to speak. I'm just listening.
Okay, sorry, John, go ahead. Jack?
Oh, okay. So we still have to address, I think, the problem with the hurricane damage to roofs, okay? And if we can't repair the damage because a claim is in process, that can't be a violation that is $100 a day fine, because every roof in the condos, if they're processing a claim for hurricane damage, has limitations. So I'm perfectly fine with $100 per violation, but it has to be qualified with, what's allowable or what. I'm trying to figure out how to address that specific exception.
Well, you could do a chemical cleaning without walking on the roof or damaging any tile or anything of that nature.
But didn't we just hear from Christian that whoever he's talked to isn't doing it or wouldn't recommend doing it? There's an issue, I thought, because Cezanne, you correct me, or maybe Linda can correct me. What was Christian's question with the ability to chemically clean it?
He's going back to the public adjuster right now to get in contact with him in regards to the soft wash. I have to remind everybody that Christian didn't know about the soft wash. And so all the people he was working with, they were working on a regular, normal, like we've done for 20 years here, of having our roofs cleaned. We've never been in this situation. But then all these things started hitting us. So He'll get back to me, I'm sure, but
But Didn't you
Suzanne
guys
says
have your roof
Jason,
cleaned after Irma?
Say
I mean,
again?
I guess Irma
Yeah.
came in September 2018, right?
yes,
Right.
It has not been 2 years since your roof has been cleaned.
no, but here's what happened, Suzanne. We started having roof problems. All of a sudden, our repairs were like 9,000 here and 8,000 there. And we said, we've got a problem. Well, then the insurance they were going to say that, well, we've had people up tromping on our roof, which is true. So when they opened the claim, that's when they were told that people couldn't go on the roof. But now that he can schedule this soft wash, we want to get our roof clean. It looks terrible. So I don't know what you want to do about fines. He said they'll be done by August 15th.
Well,
Is
and
every
I'm
file-
fine.
Jack,
I'm fine with extending the deadline. I just want to make sure that we're not fining someone for something that is not reasonably safe to be done with respect to an insurance claim. If you violate the insurance claim by walking on the roof or by doing something to the roof that impacts, is a $60,000 problem, then $100 fine is not going to stop anybody from, I'll take the $100 fine instead of spending $60,000.
yeah, I don't want to interfere with a claim either. I mean, that's counterproductive to our role. So let's determine,
Michael, what did we do with homeowners who were in the exact same situation?
We did soft washes on their homes.
Okay,
And
Yeah,
there was no problem with the insurance companies or the adjusters that
Okay.
we know of.
and to me, it's the fact that a property manager doesn't know about the various ways to clean roofs
Right.
is just sort of
Chemical.
unbelievable.
Right,
But
but not walking.
Well,
And-
Lanny,
oh,
if
and
you were
Jack,
given
the
a
limit-
job up to,
the limit is
just
10
because he's
days.
new and doesn't have any background in what he's doing, doesn't make it unbelievable. It's a fact of life today, when you put people in jobs that they're not used to.
Well,
Not
the
saying
limit
it's
is 10
improper.
days that we can fine. So the maximum fine is $1,000. So it's
But
not
that's
like,
not consistent with what other people have been fined, I thought. I just heard that.
no,
Violation.
our limit is $100 a day for 10 days. We can't fine above that. So nobody else
Lanny-
has been fined more than $1,000 per violation per day. I mean, total.
okay, any other discussion?
Yeah,
Chap, and then I want to go back to Michael to restate the motion.
I think all we have to decide is whether or not we're going to try to fine. So that's it. The first part of it's done. Yeah, I think for now we should not fine.
Okay, Michael,
Okay, so you want a new motion? Okay.
well, I want your recommendation in the form
My
of a motion.
recommendation is that we fine going forward after August 15th.
$100 per day,
Correct,
up to 10 days per building.
per building.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, any further discussion? Good, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
And everybody
any
put
of-
up their hand, it's easier for me to see.
Any opposed? No one opposes.
I'm opposing.
Okay, Jack opposes.
I'm abstaining because I just joined the meeting and don't really understand all the discussion. So I'm just abstaining. Won't
Well,
matter.
let's do it again.
Yes, let's do it again so that I can vote differently.
We're frozen here.
I mean, you're talking about fining people $100 per day per violation per building. And because the association manager didn't know what he was doing and Sasan wasn't here to help him and COVID-19 occurred and all these other things occurred. And now we're talking about nobody's ever going to want to be president of a condo association again. So you just might as well close the shop up.
But this starts August 15th. If he does what he says he's gonna do, there isn't any fine.
Lindia,
First of all, he does know what he's doing. He just didn't know about this soft wash. He's doing a very, very good job, and he's trying very hard to get up to speed. So I do want to defend Christian. Secondly, $100 a day per building, that's $3,000 in our budget. You put the condo people $300 over, and they have to have an assessment at the end of the year because of it. And the property manager is caught in the middle there. He's got the public adjuster telling him one thing, he's got us telling him another. So I think communication between Cezanne and Christian, so that we can keep this. We've told them go ahead and soft power wash, because Cezanne said, Jason said that was perfectly good. It wouldn't hurt our claim. So I think we should probably see that in writing from Jason, that our claim will not be hurt by this soft power washing. It will not be thrown out, because if it is, then we're 3 buildings here. I've got a lot of people mad at us. And if they have to go pay for a roof that they could have gotten because they had a legitimate insurance claim. So I would say we should tread lightly, not to make a pun, but I think we should be very careful how we do this fining. I think Cezanne should have a little discretion, and Mark here, with working with these property managers. They are kind of caught in the middle. I'm going to ask Christian to get a letter from the board, or from that Jason said, our insurance claim will not be thrown out if we soft wash. As long as I have that in writing.
I never said that Jason said those words. That's not what I said. And
Jason cannot say that.
no,
He
And-
cannot possibly make that declaration. It has
And
to
it-
come from the association's lawyer.
And in my opinion, what it's worth, I don't think we should fine. I just think I think in the circumstances, given COVID and the delay, we just want these violations fixed. That's what
So
we're.
how about if we give Cezanne and Mark some leeway in carrying this out?
We already
So-
voted.
Yeah,
Okay. The motion passed, right?
right.
We can always re-vote on the motion.
I'd like to make a new motion. I think that we need to exclude insurance claims for roof damage as part of this process we just voted on, because dependent on what's going to happen with roofs in this community, the violations may impact us to get claims and get your roofs fixed. And I think I really have no problem with finding other violations for things that should have been done that were easy to do. But I think the roof claims are an exception here, because there's a lot of confusion. And even though people think they know everything, other people don't agree or think they know what we think we know. So I'm just trying to say that maybe we can re-motion and exclude hurricane claim damage and roof damage that's under insurance review.
And how about if you can do a chemical cleaning without affecting the claim?
Well, then that's okay. But I mean, someone,
So would you include that in your motion?
yeah, I guess I would. So
Do I have a second for the motion?
I guess we wouldn't be here today if we were excluding the roofs, because that's what everybody's screaming about.
Yeah, let's keep in mind that the situation is pretty bad out there. It looks pretty
Right.
ugly, and it has for quite a while.
I mean, the reason these are being pushed and have a fire under them as much as they are is because people are driving through the community, just visually seeing the roofs. And that's what I'm getting the emails for.
I don't disagree with that. The
Personally
roof should be
walking the
cleaned if
streets and
it's
looking at the
safe to do
walls
it.
and the trim and the gutters like the ASC is for the other violations.
All right, let's keep in mind, we have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Would you clarify what the motion is?
Go ahead, Jack.
So I move to amend the prior motion to Lindy wants to say something.
No, I'll wait till discussion. Go ahead.
So I move to amend the prior motion to qualify or,
Hold, point of order. Jack, you can't amend the motion because it's closed. You have to create a new motion.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
new motion.
all right. So I move that we accept the Architectural Committee standards recommendations to move the fine date to August the 15th and to, but amend it to keep in mind that hurricane damage to roofs is affecting their cleanliness, and if we can do it without affecting the roof claim, then we should insist that the roofs be clean.
It's impossible. How are we ever going to know
Yeah,
whether it affects the roof claim?
Is there a second?
Well, I don't know what are we finding people for? If we can't get into business of finding people for something that's we're gonna be sued by later if the claim gets denied because we clean the roof. So I don't care what you think we don't do, but you know what, we all think we can chemically clean a roof and that's fine. And we've all done this before. Let's make the property managers confirm that that's before we make a fine assessment for anything.
we need a second on the motion.
I will second it so we can discuss it.
Okay, Jack, maybe the wording, maybe we need to work around this wording in terms of if the cleaning jeopardizes the claim, that there is some leeway here. But we have to determine, in fact, that the cleaning will jeopardize the claim. And that should be done by an underwriter or some official or umpire that can determine that.
I mean, I don't think a letter from their attorney just saying, don't do it is sufficient because that's what we're getting. And like, when I keep asking, they're in litigation. Well, then when's your court date? And we don't get any of that information. I mean, obviously, if it's in litigation, you have documentation that you're going to court over the matter with your insurance company. It kind of really halts things. Nobody can provide that to me. So I can't provide that to you guys saying, hey, Eagle Cove 1 is in litigation. They have a legit court date coming up on this. It's all just emails from an attorney to the insurance company trying to go back and forth.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You need an umpire or a referee, and there are neutral parties out there that can determine whether or not the cleaning will affect the claim or should affect the claim. Let's go to Landy, then Lindia.
Jack, is this supposed to apply to just condos or homeowners also? And if it applies to homeowners, are we going to refund any fines that we've already levied for this to homeowners? And if it's not going to apply to homeowners, how can we justify different rules for condos and homeowners?
But didn't Michael say there was some leeway with homeowners who had a claim in process?
No, he said they use the soft watch.
The soft wash, yeah.
Soft wash.
All the outstanding roof violations have been correct.
We had the exact same issue with homeowners who are also stuck in the middle between their insurance company, their insurance agent, the roofer. It's been the same, but the homeowners have done a much better job of this.
So the claim was not affected.
No, not that we know of. And we would have heard about it if there was.
And we know a lot of people got insurance companies to pay for the roofs.
Well, can I discuss
Go ahead,
this?
Brownie.
Okay, I think I might be the only one on the board that's had a roof replaced.
No,
Is
I
that
did
true?
too.
Okay, Lanny and I are,
I
okay.
I
Okay,
had one.
now, you did also, okay, 3 of us. But the point is, and it took me 14 or 15 months dealing with the insurance company and the roofers, but the insurance company worse is a nightmare. Whether or not, if there's any possibility that we would jeopardize anyone getting $50, $60, $100,000 to replace their roof by fining them $100 is just not gonna, we had the hurricane. It was something that we can't control. I'd be very concerned about start finding people who are in the middle of claims, haven't been through it personally, with if there's any risk of it could invalidate their claim, and we'll never get a yes or no answer. As Paul said, Jason can't write us a letter, or no one can write a letter. So I don't think we should do anything to jeopardize the chance of the condos or an individual homeowner getting the claim. And that means that I don't think we should be fining people if they factually, they are in the middle of a dispute with their insurance company. What we need to know is make sure they are in, there is a claim and there is a dispute going on. But I'm very much against fining people for this situation. This was something act of God, and dealing with the insurance company is an act of God.
Linda.
Yes, we've had a blue tarp on a coach home for a year and a half, and our roofs have been dirty for a few months, 4 or 5 months maybe. So I just think we're overreacting. Nobody was hurt. Apparently, there was no harm done with the rule that we had in place with the homeowners. No homeowner got fined, so there's been no harm done. I say we wait till August 15th, and at the August board meeting, we decide what to do.
Lanny.
I disagree with the timeline here. I think your roofs have been dirty for about 10 months, maybe longer. I think that the critical thing is that we have some time frame that we're not going to let this go on. 3 years of those roofs looking like that are just not going to be acceptable. So I have no problem with deferring this until August, but it just cannot go on forever. I don't know what Brownie's limit is, but we have not allowed homeowners to do it. I can't see how we can allow condo owners to do it.
Well,
Linda.
I'm gonna ask Christian, and of course I know there's a few other property managers that should be notified, but I'm gonna ask Christian to get us something in writing, one way or the other, so that we can have it in case they say you cannot do it. Because I think we've got to protect our people. We represent 24 units, 24 individual homeowners that we have to protect too. So I just think if the board makes a decision, and
Let's keep in mind that other homeowners, single-family homeowners, had the chemical treatment during the course of a claim.
Fine.
So if he understands
Because we
that,
said they had to.
yeah,
You guys gave them a deadline of April 31st in the event that if you had a claim that your roof would either be replaced or cleaned by that time frame. And if not, that was their dead and final time. We went in there and corrected their violation.
Well, then let's go with that. Let's just say we've got a timeline of August 15th, but if we have some evidence that it will jeopardize our roof claim, then I think we've got to look at it. We've got to look at that.
But I mean, at some point, the master association, in my opinion, in some point, the master association needs to step in. As Jason said, the club has to make you comply with the maintenance standards.
Yeah, I can see that point too. I can, but.
okay, we have a motion on the floor. And we have a second. I need to have the motion repeated.
I have written a motion by Mr. McBride to accept the Master Association to correct the outstanding violations if not corrected by August 15th, excluding roof claims if cleaning will jeopardize with legal documentation.
Sounds good.
Can everybody hear me again?
Yes, you're on, Terry.
Now we can.
Thank you.
Okay, are we prepared to vote or any further discussion? Lanny,
I still want to know whether this applies only to condos or to homeowners. We're going to have other violations coming up. Well, I guess this motion is only about the condos. So my question is this a statement from the board that that homeowners also don't have to get their roofs cleaned if if in the future they have a situation that's similar?
That's
But
not what we're saying.
you know
You're
clearly
twisting
that's
words,
not the
Lanny.
case.
You're
Lanny,
twisting words, Lane. It's just
Lanny,
unfair to do that.
It's a moot point, Lanny, because this motion expires 15th.
No, it doesn't. It lets it, by saying this, we're saying that it doesn't expire the 15th. If they submit something saying, we can't clean our roof, and we ask them for more documentation in 3 months, we can't clean our roof. In 6 months, we can't clean our roof. It's open-ended.
And that's the way we've
When
seen
it
this.
comes to ASC violations, precedents are very important. People
I
can
don't think
claim
we're
they
saying
don't have to
anything
comply.
differently than we've treated the single-family homes.
But
Yes,
And
you are.
no,
You
we're
are.
saying that if you have a claim on replacing your roof and the roof is dirty, you can treat it chemically and clean it and your claim is not in jeopardy. That's all we're saying here. Let's go to Michael and then Linda, then Faison.
So we are stipulating that this motion is referring to the soft wash.
Yes, and something we
We've gotta
know
get
in the
that
past,
motion too, because otherwise we're gonna go out there and they're gonna say, well, that we can't do the hard wash or they can't go on the roof, and then we'll be right back where we started.
yeah, good point. Okay, Linda,
Yes, I think, first of all, I think the roof, they're all gonna be taken care of if that soft wash is okay and doesn't invalidate our claims. But you've got to remember, when you're dealing with a homeowner, you're dealing directly with a homeowner. But when you're dealing with the condo associations, you are dealing with a board from the condo, and you are dealing with that third person, the management company. And if the management company, they are our management company. And when they tell us something like this will jeopardize your claim, that is putting the condo officers in jeopardy. We're trying to do it the right way. And I think we've got to be careful that you don't get us in a situation where we're sued. Everybody has to be a little careful here. It's not the same as the homes.
well, I think that's what the motion is suggesting, that we don't want to jeopardize the claim. But let's keep in mind, when you have a claim of this nature, you have an insurance adjuster come out and determine whether or not you have a problem with the roof. Beyond that, there's a neutral party that is hired to determine in fact that you do or do not have a problem. And that umpire is neutral in the process. The same thing can be applied here in terms of the cleaning. You can get a neutral person come in, an umpire that does this routinely, and is not part of the insurance company, but can say this cleaning will jeopardize the claim or will not. So that's what needs to happen in this case, to be sure that the cleaning won't jeopardize the claim. And chances are all of this will be taken care of, hopefully by the 15th.
Right.
Faison, then Lanny.
I have to agree with Laney. I believe the way that this motion is stated and written, that these will drag on for another year to 2 years, because if you're saying that they do not have to do anything by getting a note that says that it's going to jeopardize claim, Christian's going to go out there and just get that note from the insurance company.
Oh,
Because I already have them from
Oh.
03 and such. It's very easy for them to get.
because he was told that. He was told that, but now he's going back with the soft wash. And
But by this motion, you're saying that they don't have to do anything. That's the way that this motion is written. They don't have to do anything as long as they have legal documentation.
This
So-
is only
so-
the power, this is only the roof, power washing the roof.
which is the big
Cleaning.
problem.
But if you soft wash the roof and you get confirmation from a neutral third party that it won't jeopardize your insurance claim, then you need to soft wash the roof. But if you don't get confirmation by a neutral that a soft roof will not jeopardize, will affect the claim, or whatever I'm trying to say, then you're in jeopardy by doing a soft wash because you don't have protection. So I understand that you all got soft roof washes for your single family houses that had hurricane damage. Maybe they're different roofs, maybe they're bigger roofs. I don't know that you can say just because I got the confirmation for a soft wash on a single family house, that it's the same confirmation I'll get for a much larger building that houses many more units. We need to find that out before we can know definitively that we're doing the right thing.
And let's keep in mind, this is not going to drag on forever because if the roof has a claim and it's in deterioration, it's going to be replaced and fixed and cleaned, and it'll look great as a new roof. So let's not suggest this will go on for 3 years. Lanny.
Paul, do you have any experience that any neutral third party has ever given such clearance that a soft wash will not impact a claim?
I have no personal experience on that, but I do know that they're involved with every claim on a roof.
Well, not every, but they can be. I just don't think anyone's going to stick their neck out unless it's based on being paid to do so. And I think either way, people can pay somebody to write something. You know, you can get a doctor's note for anything that you want if you find an unscrupulous doc. So I just don't see that that's the way to go. I think that we can delay this till next month's meeting and make some kind of decision about how long it's going to go on. There's obviously been a lot of new information over the past month, so I would support going back to the original motion without the fine for now, with the commitment that we're going to discuss a fine next month. And that then alleviates the fining problem for the condo owners for now, and we'll have a chance to find out what's happened over the next month.
Okay,
But I think we can't.
Jack, Lindia, and Michael, how do you feel about that?
That's fine.
I'm okay with that.
I'm
Because
okay with that.
I think we're operating from a position of not enough information. to,
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We have a second. Let's deal with the motion. And then we'll
Can I
come
withdraw
back.
the motion or not now?
Jack can withdraw it.
I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay,
Okay.
off the floor. And Lanny, why don't you create a new motion here?
We have the motion.
I move to rescind the previous motion that Suzanne can quote, and move to contract.
Lanny, do
the
them
master-
separately. Do them separately. Do it separately. Rescind
Okay,
first.
I move to rescind the previous motion.
Point of order. Lanny, you don't have to do that because Jack took his motion off the floor.
I'm
What
not
did-
talking about Jack's
The
motion.
motion
I'm
before
talking
that.
about the one we passed.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry for the interruption.
And I second the rescinding it.
Okay, all in favor? Signify by saying aye. Raise your
Aye.
hand.
All right.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion is rescinded. And Lanny,
I move that the Master Association correct the outstanding condo violations, if not corrected by August 15th, 2020, and charge the cost to do so to the unit owners / sub-association.
Oh,
Exactly the one we had before.
oh.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mike seconds. Discussion.
Discussion,
Browning.
yes. That could, boy, I don't like the way it was worded. I understand the intent. But basically, that could put the master association, if we did that and ruined someone's claim and they didn't get 100, 200,000 to replace it, then that condo association could sue us for that because we force them to, we ruin their claim. I don't think we should, boy, that would take any action that would put us at risk like that. That's the way that motion was stated. We could be liable of screwing up someone's claim.
Or they could do nothing for forever.
That's why I like your idea, Paul, of putting in something about unless we have someone, unless we have the agent or whoever, who did you say, a referee or somebody,
Umpire.
state that it might jeopardize our claim.
How many claims are out there for the condos?
You've got the list.
No, those don't all have claims, but I mean, a claim was.
Where's the list? I don't know where do I have the list?
Now, how many condo associations are in the process of trying to get the roofs replaced their insurance claims? That's what's material.
That's really my question. How many, what are we talking about? How many condos have claims? I don't have that information.
I don't know how many condos have claims, but you can sign a claim through September. So they have claims next week.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here talking about the claims. We don't even have the facts of,
Linda
maybe-
knows.
maybe some of the buildings don't have claims. Boy, they should be cleaning it right now. If they do have a claim, then it's a different situation. I don't see how we can start finding people if we don't know what the facts are. I thought we knew the facts.
All right, I'll give you another idea. Brownie, we don't incur any liability until we actually go ahead as a board and embark on the cleaning. Before we do that, we have no liability. So I would suggest that we approve this motion and then reconvene at the next board meeting and to see what kind of response we've got from these associations.
I agree.
Paul,
Terry.
one of the things that I think is a real linchpin is acknowledging whether or not we can get these roofs cleaned with chemical wash and not disturb the claims that these folks have. Now, as a master board, we've been looking in a passive way towards this. But if we, as Chap said, take it upon ourselves to do this, then we need to know and have a vested interest to know whether or not our action will nullify a claim. So I don't think we have a passive role here. I think we have an active role to try to get acknowledgement that this is done and it will not trigger the loss of a claim. Because if we do trigger a loss of a claim, we'll be at risk, which is what Brownie just said. And I agree with him.
All right, so we can look into that between now and the next board meeting. Mark and Cezanne could do some research and find a referee and umpire who is neutral that does this sort of work and give us a direct answer well before our next meeting.
And also,
There has to be plenty of precedent for doing this thing from a condo association perspective. We just don't know what it is.
and also I'd like to get the facts on what claims are out there. In other words, I look at the condo buildings, are all those dirty ones under a claim or some of them just not clean? I don't know that.
Some of them are not under claim and some are. Lindia's, your Sweetwater 1
There was one roof,
and there's Sweetwater 3, I think.
So
Yeah.
all I'm saying is whether or not, if someone doesn't have a claim and hasn't cleaned it and isn't putting a claim
Right.
in, we
Well,
maybe
that's
should fine
different.
them.
Yeah, there was
Right.
one roof
But the
this
point
week.
is, we can't sit here and vote on it if we don't know what the facts are.
Well,
I
I
have
think we
noticed from
can.
advanced that Sweetwater 1 and Sweetwater 4 and Sweetwater 7, their roofs are on hold. Everything, and Sweetwater 8 doesn't have approval yet, but everything else has been scheduled.
So those are probably the ones that are a claim. And we know Eagle Cove 1 and Eagle Cove 3 have a claim. Eagle Cove 1 is in the process right now of getting, they finally got their claim settled and they're getting the new roof as we speak. They're putting it on. Eagle Cove 3 is the one that has the tarps on. We're pretty sure they're gonna get a new roof. They can't take the tarps off or the rain comes in. And then there's probably 1, 4, 7, and maybe one other that I'm not sure of, have roof claims. The rest do not. They may be getting ready to paint. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
one
know
of the
anything
roofs
about
was
the others.
just cleaned. One of the roofs down the street from us, Lindy, it was
Sweetwater 3.
power washed, right?
Sweetwater 3 was clean the other day.
So they've been
Okay.
scheduling them. I think it's the one that Christian is hesitating on, is he was trying to get permission to go ahead and do that soft clean. And that's the holdup. Now, if he gets that, they'll all be done by the 15th, I'm sure.
So
But-
let's get back to Lanny's motion.
Approve the motion and let's reconvene on the 15th.
Yeah,
That's
That's my-
nothing.
that's my suggestion too.
Otherwise, we'll be here all day.
Yeah. And in the meantime, Mark and Cezanne can research referees and umpires. Okay, any other discussion before we go to a move? Mark?
I think that, I hope that something gets done because here in the office, we do get an enormous amount of flack about what's going on there and what's happening at the condos. The second is that Jack's right. There's got to be plenty of precedents out there from other associations, regardless of their condos or not, about this exact type of action. Everybody's wants clean roofs in their association. So, and I actually think that Jason would have some knowledge about this because of his work with all the associations that he's dealing with.
All right, so the motion is, Lanny, repeat it, please.
I move that the Master Association contract to correct the outstanding condo violations, if not corrected by August 15th, 2020, and charge the cost to do so to the unit owners / sub-association.
So Lanny, you're saying you're going to do that. That's your motion, that you are going to do it.
Right, but we will tell Cezanne not to schedule it until we meet again. And I don't think we have to meet on the 15th. I think we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Then
She's not gonna-
that should be in the motion.
No, I think it's a line in the sand that we are clear to these people that they've got to correct this. And when we actually go to do it, we can take the additional information and decide what to do about it.
Lanny, why can't you? Okay, never mind.
Well, go ahead, Lynn.
Well, I was going to say, why can't you say for those who are not under a claim? That's the August 15th. For those who are under a claim, we will that will be brought up at the next meeting. But I can't say that because you have until September something to file a claim. So
I think
Right.
at this point, you guys are made aware that the Master Association has this motion in place. And it's now up to Sweetwater Bay 1, 9, everybody to either do it or provide us with firm documentation what your plan is. And then we can either say, take it to the master board and say, look, Sweetwater Bay 1, here they have a court date in October, and you guys can decide if we're gonna let it have an extension till then. But I mean, if Sweetwater Bay 1 comes back to us with nothing by August 15th, no comments or anything, we have to do our best, and we have our ducks in the row that we have, like, I just reached back out to Eagle Cove 3 to say, where are you? You know, but if we're not getting any information, we have firm documentation that we have done our due diligence to follow up and make sure there are no outstanding claims before we move forward on getting stuff corrected.
Suzanne, so we know that they have an attorney with Eagle Cove 3. Don't you get anything from him?
No, we get an email saying it's under review. It's under review.
And
But
that's what the insurance
efficient.
company does. They don't do anything. Until finally they agree.
wouldn't you find a new attorney to press your suit a little bit more and get that umpire out and get it corrected?
You know what? We don't want to spend the money for an attorney if we don't have to. We shouldn't have to.
Brownie,
Okay, we rescinded the one motion. I make a motion, we table doing anything until August the 15th. Any second on that? And
well,
then
we have a
between now-
motion. No,
Well,
we have
no.
a motion on the floor. We have to deal with that first.
I
Well,
can
he
make a
can move
motion
to-
to table,
he can
no, I
move
can
to-
move to table it.
Table, yeah.
If I get a second. And my point is, between now and the 15th, let's get the facts, find out how many they are, what the claims are, who isn't, and then on the 15th, we do something, but table making a motion now, table the motion that's on the thing.
I
Somebody wants to
second that.
second it?
I
Okay.
do.
Okay. Any further discussion about the motion?
Call the question.
Okay, all in
Table
favor?
motion.
Well, the motion that has to be voted on now, second, is whether or not we table it first.
No,
That's
you
what-
have to vote. If he's really calling the question, you have to vote on calling the question first.
Right.
I would like to add another comment. Terry, would you withdraw your call the question?
I'd like to move this along. We've been talking about this for an hour and a half
Yeah,
and we have no resolution. And you've had the floor for the last 25 minutes. So no, I'd like to call the question.
Okay, so Paul, you have to
All right,
find,
all in
it's a-
favor of calling the question?
I,
Please-
which question?
Oh,
yours.
God.
I made a
No.
mo-
Question.
no,
for the
it's not
table.
calling, it's forcing a vote on the,
Table,
without any more discussion.
correct,
Forcing a vote on tabling the motion.
correct.
Yeah. The vote on tabling the motion, okay.
No, it's not on tabling the motion. It's call the question so that we can vote on the motion.
Good.
All right,
I give up.
all, Chap, go ahead.
No, I agree. I mean, yes.
Okay, so all in favor of calling the question, signify by saying aye.
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 I don't know what the
What-
question
Are
is.
you voting on Lane's motion?
Oh, God.
No,
We're
we're
calling
voting
the
on whether we're
question.
going to vote. We're voting
Now-
on whether or not we're going to vote without any other discussion.
Now we can vote on the motion.
Not
Well, no,
yet.
she hasn't
Wait
asked for a
till the vote's
vote.
done.
We have the ayes noted. Do you have that, Cezanne?
No, because I'm completely confused.
I am too.
Because generally when you call the question on the last motion made. The last
No,
made.
no,
No.
to-
no,
No.
Suzanne. The
No, it's
question
not
is
true.
simply, are we mandating a vote now on the motion that we're going to vote on?
That's correct.
It's not the motion, it's
Do
just,
you
it's
agree
just
with
taking the vote.
Terry that we're gonna vote now?
That's
We're
all it
just-
is.
We're just voting that we're going to vote now or we're going to continue discussion.
Right.
So how about we just vote on Laney's motion?
Vote on
No,
No.
no, don't
that's-
confuse it. Don't confuse it. We're voting on calling the question.
Oh my gosh.
On what question? Tabling the motion or Lanny's
No.
motion?
Just to call the question in order to vote on the motion without any more discussion. First, you have to vote to call the question, and second, then you vote on the table without any further discussion. That's what we're voting on, Brownie. Do you understand now?
Not really, but
I'm gonna put
I
50.
thought we
Yeah.
always voted on the last motion, which was the table first.
All right,
No.
let's go back. We're calling the question. All in favor of calling the question, raise your hand. signify by saying aye.
All right,
Aye.
Okay, Cezanne, do you have it?
I have Chap, Goodrow, Snyder, McBurney, Kraft,
And Brownie?
Brownie.
And Mike.
And Mike.
Okay, all opposed.
Not,
We have Lanny and John Miho votes which way? We're calling the question. He calls the question. Okay. All right, let's go to Brownie's motion.
put it up for a vote, Paul. That's what's missed.
So Cezanne, do you have his motion?
the motion made by Brownie was to table.
I
The
second that.
discussion until the next board meeting.
Until then,
I
It was to
second
table
that
the
motion.
And it was
What's
seconded
that?
by Terry Kraft. The motion was made by Brownie was to table the motion.
yeah, until the August 15th meeting, if you want to add that,
We
That
are-
was my
To the
intent.
August meeting,
that we
Well, the
table it
August
to the
board
August
meeting,
15th
right?
meeting. Right.
August meeting, it's not on the
We don't
15th.
have an August 15th meeting. We have an August.
Okay,
board.
August, whatever it is. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, August meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
It was
Okay,
me.
Chad.
I seconded it.
Okay, Terry seconds.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
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 Okay, do you have it, Cezanne?
Everybody except Wheeler and Hardgrave.
Okay. All right, good. Let's move along.
Opposed?
I thought we got that. You and
No.
Hargraves. Okay, opposed? Lanny and Hargraves.
Okay.
Okay,
So the condos don't have to do anything until the next August meeting.
No,
Talk
the
about
letter
it.
stands. The
Yeah,
letter
the-
you sent out.
You
The
just
letter-
retracted it. Okay, all right.
Did not retract it.
You did.
But the problem is, we haven't
did.
supported the EC action, which was not a legal action. If Paul, you want to change that to a president's action, okay. But the EC is not authorized to take any actions on behalf of the board.
But even so, you just said that we're, like, there's no motion out there. There's nothing that firms that they have to do anything, and then we're gonna go and, like, there's no ground.
No, no.
The
They
EC
only have an
stands.
extension that they were given by the E EC.
Right. And that stands. Paul, can you make that determination that they have the fifth till the 15th?
But I mean, I guess from my work standpoint, on August 15th, what, I do nothing. I don't go and get quotes. I don't go to contract anything. I do nothing more until you guys meet in August and then decide what I do.
Well, I don't quite agree. I think what needs to be done, which was my intent, is to get the information. So at the August meeting, we know exactly what condos have claims, what don't have claims, which ones are dirty, and treat the ones they don't have a claim, then we do fine them and make them do it. If they have a claim, can have them find out if they can do the soft wash. So there's nothing, the board is not voted to take action, but I think my intent was at the August meeting, we'll have all the facts so we can deal with exactly what we're talking about. I don't know what condos have claims, what do not, which ones are dirty and don't have claims. So in that sense, there is something to do. We're not finding anybody, but we need to still work with the condo associations and find out what the facts are.
well, I think that's part of it. We find out which ones we can distinguish from the roof claims. But I think Michael's crew has indicated already that we have concerns and violations here, and that needs to be translated to them so they're dealing with it. Hopefully by the next board meeting, much of this can be handled and taken care of.
Yeah,
John Miho.
The only comment I have, as far as what Brownie was talking about, is if they have to September 1st to submit a claim, we won't have all the information by the August board meeting anyway.
Well, yeah, a claim is one thing, but we have some outstanding violations here that have lasted for half a year. So I think these are the things we need to deal with. We'll go to Linda and then Mike.
I think we've got to find a way to make the letter that went out enforceable with another motion or something coming out like brownies, that those under claim will either will provide to the best of their ability proof that soft power washing will damage it. If they've got someone, I don't see why you can't approve what Cezanne sent out. The EC agreed to it.
Well, we can all agree to it right now. We could do it on my authority, or we can vote right now and say we'll stand behind the violation list. So Michael, let's go to you.
Well, I was just reminding everybody, this violation list is more than roofs.
Yeah, we're just talking
A lot
roofs.
more than roofs. You know, we've got driveways and carport walls and things like that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But there's no real question. All the discussion was about the roofs. I don't think anyone is not against fining for the other violations.
Right.
The
Right.
discussion was about the roofs specifically and the hurricanes, but any of those other violations, I don't see there's reason to question the fines are fine.
But we haven't passed any fines.
We haven't
But,
passed.
so
yeah, we
I
haven't
think,
passed the fine.
I think if you say that Paul had the discretion to delay the fines till August the 15th, then he can do it. We don't need a board resolution.
And everyone should follow the fines. The fines should be established for violations that are not hurricane related.
Can I make a proposal maybe that you make a motion to contract with the Master Association to correct the outstanding violations, if not corrected by August 15th, and charge the cost due to the sub-association unless a specific legal documentation is submitted to us in regards to a roof claim. In that case, the master board will review at the August meeting.
Good one.
That sounds really good.
I'm good
So
with
moved.
that.
So moved. I
Second.
move that statement.
Jack seconds it. All in, any discussion?
Just read it again.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I'm kind of typing it as I go here.
Right.
Oh, Mr. Kraft made that move to contract for the Master Association to correct outstanding violations, if not corrected by August 15th, and charge the cost to do so to the sub-association. Unless, or we'll say, for a open roof insurance claim, the sub-association can provide legal documentation, which will review at the August board meeting.
And it was second.
To be clear, are there any claims not associated with roof that are hurricane claims?
There's none that I am aware of.
Okay, so I'd like to see
Yeah.
that a little clearer. The roof versus other, only on the roofs can they provide legal comment. Okay, we don't want a lot of excuses on all the others.
Okay, so I said
So-
for an open roof insurance claim.
Yeah. So limit that
Okay.
option to get, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by raising your hand and saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good job,
Okay,
Cesar.
carries unanimously.
Good job, Cezanne.
Just want to
Okay,
get these off of my desk.
Good motion.
All right, and let's keep in mind, we've had these outstanding violations for a long period of time. And it's very unsightly in the community and we want it fixed, number one. Number two, we don't want to jeopardize and mess up our neighbors who have claims. And we certainly wish them well in their claim activity. But at the same time, we're concerned about the community and the aesthetics within the community. And we thank Michael Hargraves and his committee for doing a good job here. And let's carry on.
Cezanne, did you say the person from Advanced Management is listening in on this?
Yes, and he just emailed me right now and said, Sweetwater 1, 3, and 7 are currently in discussion with the adjuster. I believe I submitted a signed contract to you in regard to Sweetwater 7 opening that claim. Sweetwater 1 is waiting on the report from the adjuster. Sweetwater 3 is also waiting on the report. They feel that all buildings that do not have a claim will have their roofs cleaned, but we're taking away the option to submit one by September if cleaning the roofs will jeopardize the claim since the due date is correct by August 15th. They're working on them.
Okay.
But this is also, you know, I'm emailing on the motion you guys made, but they do have until September to open a IRMA claim still legally. So, but I just think we need some legal documentation. You know, when is the adjuster coming out and looking at the roofs? Because after they do their inspection, the umpire, then they should be able to get their roofs.
The deadline is the hurricane date, right? The actual date.
I think it's 3 years from the date the hurricane hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 years. That's what I mean. 3 years to the actual date, right?
Yeah, I think so.
But proposed claims are neither here nor there, so let's not get bogged down in that. Let's move on to, are we through, Michael, with your report?
Yes, we had one other single home violation, but that was corrected this morning.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good. Okay, let's move to landscaping.
Oh, that's me. Sorry. Good God. I'm not going to read all this. Well, I can. I got to tell you, I wish I had taken Latin. Some of the names of these flowers. Okay, the Landscape Committee met with representatives of Brightview on June 4th and toured the area of the community that the committee wanted estimates for new landscaping. After numerous delays and back and forth estimates deemed satisfactory for board will follow. Number one, multiple areas required tweaking for $5,812.47. These include condo entrance, replacing dead Mexican petunias, mailbox area, matching both sides of the walkway, both corners of Silver Strand and Sterling Oaks Drive where plants need to be added to make them complete. Wildcat Cove entrance island, replacing mulch with ground cover, and one Willow Bend Island adding shrubs to fill in bare spots. The preserve sign area and both ends of the entrance median will have new landscaping installed. The charge is $6,360.50. The end caps on the islands will match. Each will have copperleaf plants, red Maui, ixoras, and foxtail ferns. The sign area will add cocoa plum and dazzle arboricola to close gaps. In front, we'll have Jatropha, dwarf ixoras, red copper plant, and foxtail ferns. Deer Creek sign area and Center Island, new landscaping. The charge is $6,842.76. The end caps will match. Each will have a yesterday, tomorrow, today, and tomorrow bush surrounded by green liotrope.
Liriope.
Say that. Liriope with annual flower beds. The center will have dwarf tuberculinas with pockets of hibiscus rosa sinensis. The sign area will have red dwarf powder puff shrubs, dwarf tuberculina, and green whatever. The cocoa plum hedge by the arbor will be moved back and red copper plants will be placed at the columns. Wildcat Pool Corner enhancement with new landscaping. We're really gonna fix up this corner. The charge is $11,942.26. The centerpiece will be a Bismarck palm with a Kalusha backdrop hedge with powder puff trees on the edges. In the center will be a dwarf alamandas, Hawaiian tea, bird of paradise, queen Emma lily, and agapanthus for borders. Also 2 andonidia palms, I don't know how you say that, and red hot,
Media.
okay, and red hot hibiscus to fill in missing ones. Estimates still outstanding are the pool deck pots, pool island pots, outside the activity room adjacent to the pool where the gardenia bushes have died. Clubhouse parking lot, clubhouse lawn by Court 2. Other concerns were watering the pool pots. Mark West agreed to instruct housekeeping to water the approximately 11 pots on the pool deck every day, Monday through Friday. The cabana staff would be instructed to water them on Saturday and Sunday. Dead shrubs. Committee requests the landscapers to remove the dead shrubs when they are trimming. Trimming. The landscape company is far behind with trimming. They are supposed to trim every 5 weeks and this has not been happening. Also, we've had complaints about stumps. We have a few stumps in the community and Mark is working with Alan or with Brightview to get these stumps removed. Coming next, without reaching any conclusions and in no particular order, the committee discussed areas that needed attention. This is not a final list. Sterling Oaks Boulevard and Sterling Oaks Drive intersection, the area where the current Geiger trees are located, as well as the end caps of the road to the left and right. Add more flowering trees around the community, such as powderpuff and dwarf poinciana. To resolve not to simply replace shrubs along the roadway medians so the area is too congested and green. Review medians in general. To resolve to use more ground covers such as portulaca and peanut, to name a few. Have stumps removed, ground down in several locations. Add to 41 roadway landscape with a plan that includes the same plants for a longer span. Review the areas between the tennis courts. Consider ground cover. Review the hedges in the community. The Landscape Committee requests the Board of Directors approval for $30,957.99 of the landscape budget for the projects previously listed. Wildcat Cove Pool Corner, Deer Creek Sign Area, and Center Island. The Preserve Sign Area and the Center Island and the miscellaneous small areas. It is necessary for approval at this meeting as it will take several weeks to complete.
This is money that is a line item in the budget.
Yes,
Why do you need board approval to spend it?
I don't think we do, but we always have.
Yeah.
I don't think we do.
Okay,
I think
Lanny.
I think they need approval for the specific projects. That's what we've always done.
It's over $10,000, so the board has to approve it.
Okay, Chap.
Let's just deal with the money part of it first. And now you tell me if I'm wrong. Last year when we did the budget, we had $150,000 in the budget for what was called at the time capital spending. I believe we agreed to divert 30,000 of that to Lindia, correct?
Yes, we took
Yes.
30,000 out of the capital funding for the year and moved it to a landscaping line of the budget.
Okay, so this
Will come
Expenditure.
from that line.
this expenditure will exhaust that for the year, correct?
Yes.
I don't think we spent anything.
I can look. Hold on one second.
I don't think so.
Don't we also have an additional 20,000 from Brightview?
That I don't know about.
That was part of our signing bonus. We have an additional 20,000.
25, I think.
25? I can't remember which one. Mark?
Yeah.
25.
25.
However, I think that there's much more to do out there,
Yes. we have a
especially
lot
with the
more.
replacement of sod and some of the other areas that are not included in this specific proposal, along with some of the irrigation situations that still need to be addressed. I think that we'll be able to get into that 25,000 probably by the end of the year.
Lanny,
I'm hoping that the irrigation funding will cover irrigation because I've spoken with Lindy about it and just want to share with others. In representing the tennis committee, they are very disappointed that any landscape or hardscape around the tennis area is not included in this first plan. This is an area where all the bocce players, all the visiting tennis players come in and see our community. And it's been really bad for a couple of years now. And we had been asking to have improvements here and hope that that the 25,000 will be potentially used for that, as well as some of the shrub planting along Sterling Oaks Drive, which is, again, is a very public area. And I'm personally concerned that so much focus was placed on the interior of the community versus the main drag and the clubhouse property. I'm willing to support this, but I would really like to make it clear that these other areas should be addressed with the 25,000.
Linda, can you respond to that?
Yes, one area that we
Defend the home.
already, one area that we already started investigating was around Court 2, where the lawn is right in front between that and where they park the cars, because that will be very noticeable to anybody coming to the courts. And so we're working on a plan for that. We didn't do it in phase 1 because they told us the irrigation that's presently there will not support what we wanted to do. So that's why it's been moved to phase 2. And then again, there's the question about who pays for the irrigation moves. Also, this is a note from Linda, Linda Moxley, who is our chairperson, and she did write minutes for this. She said, also do not want to rush into any tennis court landscaping, as I think there might be a problem with the area around the courts, and want to talk to Alan and Paul Barris about it to make sure we understand the implications. I think they are supposed to clean out a trench, small, a few inches wide, around the courts to allow drainage. Lanny says no irrigation around the courts, but we think there's something from the underground sprinklers. I don't know how that affects everything, and it's something we have to investigate. Also, I think one of the dirt spots may be where Alan and crew dig up all the time. A lot of questions, as you can see. The only area we know right now is the lawn by Court 2. And I've been told that from the rains in summer that it washes out the sod. And there are a lot of places where it's kind of bare and there's that clay stuff around. So we have a lot of investigating to do, but we are going to address the tennis courts.
Paul,
Paul, I've had my hand up since Lydia read the report. Would you
Okay,
recognize me?
sorry. Yes, go ahead, Brownie.
I've had it up for about 5 speakers and you've ignored me.
Sorry, Brownie, my
Okay.
fault. We'll
Okay.
listen to you, then we'll go to Lanny.
Okay, I really had a question, really is for Mark. In reading through what Lydia was reading, there's some things in there that I found are kind of permanent, and he was talking about annuals and all of that. I thought there was some requirement in the contract with a certain amount of annuals every year included in the base contract. So are we getting double charged? In other words, are they fulfilling the basic contract? It seems like to me we're doing everything extra, particularly the annuals. So Mark?
No, the annuals are in the contract and currently they're in there for, I think, 2 times a year. They pay for one, we pay for one. I think what these are talking about is added enhancement areas with additional annual plantings that would go in these other beds, not the existing ones.
Okay, because it seems like, okay, I just heard the annuals and I thought, so you're saying that they only do the annuals once a year is all that's in the
No,
contract?
Twice.
Yeah, there's 2 times. They pay for one, we pay for
Well,
the
I'm
other.
worried about I don't consider it in the contract if we pay for one. It's additional
Well,
money. What I'm
it's only
saying,
one.
what's included in the base cost of the contract is only
Yes,
once.
it's one time, but that is a,
Sorry.
Okay,
what they're looking at here is enhancement to additional annual plantings.
okay, that's fine. I just didn't want to make sure we're getting double charged.
Understand?
Take the other ones if you want, the big one. Yeah.
Okay, that was it.
Lanny,
My client has to make it.
Linda, I read the Brightview recommendations and I'm interested in the landscaping committee's response to their recommendation for River Rock around many of the port areas.
We actually talked to them about River Rock. We actually brought that up to them about River Rock, and there's a possibility of you putting it in places. Yes, there is a possibility of that.
Well,
Chap?
I understand not wanting to rush, but this request came last fall. So it doesn't feel like rushing from the tennis committee.
Well, we're not, because it took us a long time to get Brightville here to go over all this. And then we had trouble with the bids, and then we had trouble with them not putting on what we had said we were going to do. So they had to go back and forth with them. It's
Okay.
it's been an ordeal.
Chap, you're on.
Cezanne, like you were probably looking this up while everyone was talking. How much have we spent of the 30
Yeah.
grand?
We haven't spent any of the 30 grand.
Okay, so this recommendation will do it for the year. And what happens to the $25,000 credit's a whole nother story.
Well, all I can say, Chap, is that we have phase 2 that really needs to be done with the landscaping, and we also have a phase 3 that we'll be coming back with. So
Well,
get ready.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I just want everyone to understand
Right.
that if you approve this, we've exhausted the budget for the year that was allocated to Lindia. Anything over and above this as we go down the road that we want to do this year will put us over budget. Just so everyone understands. You do what you want, but
Hey, we'll go to Lanny and then Lindia will come to you for a motion.
Chap, just to clarify, it will take care of the budgeted money, but we still have $25,000 for landscaping from Brightview.
I totally understand that. That's right.
Okay, all right, okay.
So Lindia, make a motion, please.
Okay, the Landscape Committee requests the Board of Directors approval for $30,957.99 of the landscape budget for the projects listed on these minutes.
I need a second.
I second that motion.
Chap seconds. Can we call for a vote if there's no further discussion? All in favor, please signify by raising your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Lynn. Let's move to tennis.
The tennis committee met at the clubhouse via Zoom on July 13th. As of July 8th, the tennis membership increased from 296 to 297. 38% of members are homeowners. We gained 2 members and had 1 termination due to a medical condition. The tennis budget is showing a profit of $22,000, which is $13,000 better than budget. COVID-19 compliance with reopening rules has been good. The Pro Shop staff is monitoring the cameras and reminding players who make mistakes, such as gathering too closely after play. One tennis player is known to have been infected and another is a known close contact of the first. Both players appropriately self-quarantined. Unfortunately, both were required to submit negative tests and had their barcodes turned off. The tennis community was not aware of this staff policy. A draft written policy and procedure for managing infected players in close contact was developed and has been submitted for board approval, and we'll discuss that later. The tennis committee and tennis director rejected a staff proposal for a new member initiation fee because it would hurt our recruitment of new players. Due to our aging player population, recruitment of new players is crucial to our financial success. None of our competitors charge an initiation fee. Non-resident member contributions to reserves. The tennis committee and finance committee are exploring adding a reserve fund component to the non-resident member fee starting in January 2021. I'll have more details on that for you at our next meeting.
Good. I'm on a meeting right now.
Any questions?
I give you a call back.
Question,
Okay.
Yes.
the question about turning off the barcode, what is that about?
The players who were self-quarantining had their barcodes turned off. They didn't know it till they came here and tried to get into the community.
But where did that come from? I never heard of it. It doesn't make sense because there might be someone else in the household using a car.
The staff
These were
decided
non-resident
it-
members only. Non-resident members, not residents.
Oh, okay, okay, that answers it then. That makes
But it
sense.
still could apply to a non-resident family tennis member. So that's something that we're proposing not be part of the official protocol.
Was it in the official protocol, Lanny?
The board never approved it, nor Paul, as I understand it, Paul Goodrow, but it was done.
Although I think it makes sense for non-resident if it's a non-resident with the virus.
Well, but not if other members of that family who are not exposed might need to come in, or if they need to come in for another reason. They can't play tennis, but their car is not quarantined.
Well,
Right.
A specific example was someone was asked to drop off something for a homeowner and couldn't get in.
well, they can always get in by going in by the guard. Okay, so
Right,
it's not,
but it certainly is not the kind of thing that should happen without people knowing about it. And I don't think it's necessary.
But
Any
it's
other-
safe.
Any other questions?
There you go.
Okay,
What?
Couple people there.
okay. Lanny, do you have
Good eyes, Sarah, good.
suggestion for the COVID management plan?
Sure. I want to bring everyone's attention to page 14 of our board packet. This is where the major new additions to the what I'm proposing we call our COVID management plan, because it's not only a reopening plan anymore. And that's where the gist of the new information happens. This is an intent to standardize how we're handling infections and exposures among tennis players. I think it's likely that these kinds of guidelines should be used for other players, but or other amenity users. But the tennis committee felt that it was clearer if we focused on a system that would work for tennis, and then additional systems can be drafted. But essentially, it starts out with a preamble that points out that essentially we're all in this together, that these guidelines are intended to help us keep each other safe, that in good circumstances, the Department of Health would be handling most of this, but unfortunately, we're aware that they're overwhelmed. The tennis player that I mentioned never had any contact with the health department and did not have any contact tracing. So we have outlined responsibilities for each individual person, for court captains, who are the ones that schedule a group of players, and for the tennis pro shop. We started out with some key definitions from the Centers for Disease Control, clarifying what an infected person is, as well as a close contact person, and what their requirements are in terms of quarantine. We've highlighted 3 key points: that players who are infected cannot play until at least 10 days after their symptoms and have no fever for at least 24 hours, and their symptoms have improved. That close contacts, as defined above, cannot return to play until they've self-quarantined for at least 2 weeks, and that violation could result in suspension or termination of their memberships. Then we've gone on to outline the individual personal responsibilities of an infected person in terms of who to inform, the responsibilities for a close contact person, and then for players who have played with a close contact person. Then moves to court captain responsibilities and pro shop responsibilities, with a couple of additional resources. Does anyone want to walk through any of these details?
I don't want to walk through details. I
We've-
have some questions.
I think we've all had a chance to review this, and I commend you and the tennis committee for coming up with this. I'm impressed with it. Job well done, I think. Let's go to Brownie. You have a question.
Well, my question is, you say we have a person. I'm a tennis player. I have no idea if I'm a contact person or not. So who determines the contact people, particularly if you said the one we had never contacted, that was contacted by the health department? So this is good in theory, but how does it really work? How do you know if you're close contact, and how do we know a person has it? Who knows?
Okay, as it outlines under personal responsibility, it's the responsibility of an infected person to inform their court captain, to inform the pro shop, as well as if they are aware of close contacts, they're responsible to inform that player directly. The court captain then also has the opportunity to review the players that played and ensure that anyone with a close contact would be informed of this player. People who have not had contact within 6 feet of the players, of the infected person, for at least 15 minutes, or did not hug, touch, or kiss them, shared any eating or drinking utensils, or had that person sneeze, cough, or somehow get respiratory droplets on them, do not need to know about an infected player. This does obviously depend upon people being honest about being infected. And that's, why we focused in the preamble that we are in this together. But if someone intends to lie about it, and if the health department doesn't do contact tracing, there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay, my question was, who did this person tell they had the virus? Who did
They
he or
told
she
their
go
court-
to?
They
His
told
team.
their court captain, and that court captain contacted me to find out what should be done about it.
Okay, so basically you're going to administer this. Let's see, that's really
No.
what I'm, Okay,
Right.
then,
No, I'm not going to administer it. I'll
well,
be
okay,
a
well,
consultant.
my question, let's say I found out I had the virus tomorrow. Who should I contact?
Your court captain and the pro shop.
Or the circle of people that you play with routinely.
Okay, so it's strictly personal responsibility,
Yes,
and whether or not you're a close contact would depend on your court captain letting you know that so-and-so, I assume in that case, you would have to know who it was. That's what,
That's correct.
yeah, okay,
The people who are close contacts, and in most cases, it will be everyone on the court, whether they had a close contact or not. From a public health standpoint, it's the close contact people that matter. But in fact, everyone who played with this player was informed, and I would assume that that will happen in most cases.
okay.
any other questions, chap?
As usual, Lonnie's done a very thorough job. Good job.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
My question is, should we somehow or other be applying most of this to pickleball and bocce?
As
I
I
think-
said at the
I think
beginning,
we should.
I think
I
we
think
should.
that makes
I
sense.
think that each of those groups need to figure out how they would translate the tennis court captain. There's not an exact parallel, but there's certainly
Yeah.
things that are close. So they can take this document, change it slightly, and for both of those, it should work fairly well. Where it does not work well is for the fitness center or the pool. And I think our dilemma as a board is getting a clarification of what Jason's earlier guidance was, that staff should not be involved with, asking, well, what if someone in the pool, for example, or some better example, someone who's using the fitness center is infected? Who can be responsible there, given that only staff have access to the video or the key card information as to who was in the fitness center? There isn't any court captain that could do that. And that's where we need to figure out what to do about that. I understand that Suzanne and Mark were going to have some recommendations for that, but I haven't seen them yet.
Okay, chap,
Well, I move we accept Lonnie's recommendations and forward those to the point person for bocce and pickleball for their review and modification that's appropriate for them.
do I have a second?
I'll
Second.
Okay, Terry, seconds. Any further discussion? Okay, I'll ask for all who approve, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Any disapprovals? Very good, unanimously passed. And Lanny, please pass on to the tennis committee that it's a job well done.
Thank you.
I think I speak for the board when we say we're very pleased with this, and to my understanding, I think we didn't replicate this anywhere. We invented this. So again, nice job.
Yeah, that's correct. I tried to find something and couldn't find anything. I do recommend one addition to this based on this discussion. What if we add at the bottom something to the effect of guidance for pickleball and bocce players are forthcoming, just so that when people ask that question, that it's already answered. Would that be okay?
Yeah, I think that's fine.
That's fine.
Do you have that, Suzanne? Thank you.
Okay. Very good. Let's move on. Where's my agenda?
I got a hard stop in about 30 minutes, so I don't know.
Okay, I think we're at new business now. Is that right? Let's go to the rental transfer fee, and I believe this will be the last item, Jack. So Hopefully this will go quickly. Cezanne, do you want to introduce this?
I don't understand it.
Sure. So, let me just pull up my notes here on my. So right now we have a rental transfer fee. There's nowhere in writing that this fee is unrefundable. We feel that, just to give you history, a lot of our rentals come in January, February, and March. And when before these rentals or these monthly rentals leave, they generally, a majority of them complete their rental for the upcoming year. So they already have that unit rented again in the upcoming January. We have a gut feeling that a lot of these rentals are going to cancel this year, which will generally affect our budget. So we're proposing that the rental transfer fee be non-refundable within 30 days start of the lease. If the lease has been terminated prior to the 30 days, a termination of lease could be submitted to the club office. So this
And tell us why that's a hardship and a problem and creates work for us if we did not have this.
Well, we complete, this is mainly one of Laura's duties that she takes care of, probably 80% of her workday is to work on approving these rentals. So the transfer does cover a lot of our admin time for that spent. We want to make sure that Sterling Oaks is covered, that somebody can't cancel the day before and get their money back for this transfer fee. We do understand that things come up like COVID, but we need to protect us in the aspect of if somebody cancels 30 days prior. Within 30 days prior, it's non-refundable, but at 40, 60 days out, if they cancel, then we'll grant that refundable transfer fee.
Okay, I'll go to Brownie and then Chat.
I understand is what this is about because of the virus. We're going to refund the fees. Is that, I don't quite understand.
Virus is circumstantial to the notion.
Okay, so this allows us to refund money on shorter notice. Is that correct?
We don't have, right now we have nothing in place that says if you cancel 2 days prior to the lease that you're not going to get your money.
Okay, but all this does is give us the option we could, and with the assumption is it's because of the virus.
No.
Then I don't understand why we're changing it.
We're adding something.
Well, it's a change if we add something.
We're adding to our policies that if the fee is refundable prior to canceling like 31 days in advance. So if you cancel 30 days before the lease, it's not refundable. Mark.
It's got nothing to do with the virus. Although there is an expectation that we might run into a lot of last minute cancellations because of the virus. The reason for doing this is there is a considerable amount of administrative work that is put into managing the lease situation. And we need some protection to cover those administrative expenses for last minute cancellations, which that's it simply.
And this is something we should have done a long time ago. Let's go to Lindia and then Jack.
Most of the times when people cancel, the owner knows it, and the owner has usually a cancellation policy in the lease. So if the renter cancels 60 days, 90 days, 30 days prior, whatever is in the lease, if they cancel, then if they don't fall in that time limit, then they lose a certain portion of their rental. But in the past, every time somebody canceled, Cezanne returned the $250 transfer fee. Now, we get about $100,000 a year in transfer fees, and we plan our budget around that. There's a lot of work to a rental. There's a lot of paperwork, there's a lot of changes, there's a lot of checking, there's a lot of back and forth, there's approvals, and then there's all that goes on and we're returning those fees. We're expecting this year, we might have some late people coming in and saying, we're not gonna come because of the virus or something. And we are going to lose a lot of money. It's not just COVID, but the point is we should have had a policy a long time ago. Actually, 30 days is very generous. Most rentals say if you cancel within 60 days of the rental, you lose a certain portion of your funds or all of them. So 30 days is being pretty generous.
Like what I said when we discussed this before, if the board wants to make completely non-refundable, we here in the office are completely okay with not refunding the $250 ever, but we felt that things come up and we wanted to be fair in the circumstance of, you know, if an emergency comes up, that we have something. The
Jack?
one disclaimer I added was that if this does go through and we do refund it, we do ask that we refund a credit to the homeowner's account, because cutting a check and mailing it to a tenant or a property management company or so forth just gets messy within us. So if the transfer fee would be applied to a credit on the homeowner's account, they can then distribute that money back to either the tenant or their property manager, whomever handles their rental.
Jack McBurney.
Okay, so I'm looking at the contract I have to lease my condo for next season. And it says that, and this particular tenant is going to rent from February the 1st through March the 31st. And so his lease payment is due to me by the 1st of December, but the $250 to Sterling Oaks Community Association is not due till January the 1st. So if I get the lease payment, then it's likely he's going to go. If he doesn't give me the lease payment, then I can tell you that I'd put the property back on the market for someone else to do it. So I don't think there's anything wrong with this, except that in the lease form that I'm using, the fee to Sterling Oaks is within 30 days of the start of a rental, or 31 days, a month.
Yeah, and we talked about that. If they pay that fee on January 1st, then they have a chance of getting it back.
Yeah, well, I think it's fine to be it doesn't say it's non-refundable. It just has to be due. It's due and payable. So I think it's
Okay,
fine.
I think we're all speaking in affirmative tones. So can we move toward resolution of the motion? Any further discussion? Mark?
I have.
I was gonna say, I can't, I'm back, I was like with Lindy, I can't get back to gallery view because after the internet went out, things kind of all went wonky on my side, so I apologize for that. I think that what this does, and it should have been probably done many, many years ago, is we have no knowledge, truly, if Jack's renter decides not to come and he hears about it, his duty would be to call us and let us know. Other than that, we would have no knowledge of it unless a new lessee came in behind it and he gave us a new form. There's no protection on our side. And I can tell you that Laura spends inordinate amount of time with up to 200 to 300 renters coming through the place either annually or seasonally. So I think that the 30-day notice not only protects us, but it also takes care of the homeowner so that they can put the property back on the market. So I would ask that you definitively approve this.
Okay, again, I think we're all speaking in affirmative tones about this. Linda?
Suzanne, could we make sure that that's on the form that you fill in for the rentals?
Sure, we can update the tenant application.
Thank you.
Okay, Lanny?
I move that the rental transfer fee is non-refundable within 30 days of the start of the lease. If the lease has been terminated prior to 30 days, a termination of the lease must be submitted to the club office at least 30 days before the lease starts.
Thank you for that. Do I have a second?
Second.
Michael Hargraves seconds. All in favor of this motion, please raise your hand and say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, that brings us to the date of the next board meeting. We're going to make an effort to be sure that Brownie can join us on time. So we'll try to move away from Thursday in as much as I have a constant conflict on that day, and so does Brownie. So we can, I would recommend we shoot for maybe a Monday or a Friday. How does that sound? And with the dates being, let me check. Either, come on, get out of here. August 24th, 28th, or the 31st.
Well, question, if we went to Monday or Friday, you talking 1 o'clock or mornings?
I would prefer to do it in the morning.
Okay. Fridays mornings are also bad, Thursday and Friday mornings. I don't know.
Do the 24th, 4th, or the 31st on a Monday.
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Which day?
You
Let's
tell
do-
me, Monday, the
let's do-
24th?
Let's do the
or-
24th. It's closer to the 15th.
Right.
Okay,
Good idea.
Plus the other one gets in the Labor Day weekend. Or not, it doesn't get into Labor Day, but anyway, that's right.
Close.
okay. I'm 24th, good for everyone then?
Yep.
Okay, let's do that, 10 o'clock on the 24th. Okay, very good. Now I need one more motion to adjourn.
Before that, I got another piece of new business.
Well, you
Okay.
can't do this, chap. We have a motion to adjourn.
This is gonna make you smile.
All right then.
How much should I put into next year's budget to hire a parliamentarian? With
Send
that,
Terry to school. He's almost got the credentials.
I move we adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Lanny seconds, all in favor?
I abstain.
Hi.
Okay, I'm out of here. Thank you very much. It's good seeing you all.
All right.
We accomplished a lot
Bye-bye.
today. Thank you.
Oh,
Lanny, can you
bye.
stay on the line for a minute?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, guys, I'm going to stop the recording.
Yeah.
All
stop
right.
the recording. I just want to talk to Lanny, and some of you might be interested in this.
Don't you have a phone? I'll listen then.
All right. Lanny, as you know, the county passed this mask mandate,
Yes.
but it's becoming pretty clear to me that that only applies to unincorporated Collier County. Because
Yes.
Naples just turned it down. Is that right?
That's correct. But we're part of unincorporated Collier County. So it
But
applies to
Naples-
us.
Yeah, it applies to us, but doesn't apply to Naples.
Right. Naples within the city limits.
Yeah, okay. I'm just confused about that. How about a Mockley?
I don't think Mockley is incorporated. Marco is incorporated.
So it doesn't apply to Marco?
It doesn't apply to Marco either, but I don't think Immokalee is incorporated, but I'm not positive. Suzanne, do you know?
I don't know for sure, but I know that like Immokalee generally follows everything Collier County does. It's not
Yeah.
like have a city of Immokalee as Marco has.
I think they're
Yeah,
unincorporated,
that's what I thought.
Lanny.
Yeah, if they were incorporated, they would have a city council or something like that. I don't think they do. I've never read about it.
No, I mean, like, I know like the Marco Fire, or the like Marco Fire Department works for the city of Marco.
Right,
The
right.
Fire Department of Immokalee
Yeah.
is. Greater
Yeah, I was
Naples.
just curious. I mean,
Yeah,
so,
I'm surprised Naples didn't go along with it.
okay, I was just curious.
Too many politicians don't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Hold on.
Bye.
Mhm.